So, my chapter was chapter 5, Principal Voice and Community, and creating enthusiasm, understanding, and collaboration. And so Grandmama Q says on community, a strong community is like a good meatball. It is made up of great ingredients and put together with love. So, part of this little project that I did was I went to the Chamber of Commerce and I spoke with Samantha Brady. And Samantha Brady just kind of blew my mind on some of the issues that the workforce is struggling with right now as far as employees. And so, going back to the book for just a second, it says that it is the principal's job to advocate for the students at your school and to be a part that is connecting with the community to help them understand the learning that occurs at our school, to garner support for your schools, and to involve your school in the local community service. And not to do that is a disservice to all. And so, in talking with Samantha, which was completely unexpected, when I went there, I was just expecting to video their building, video the facility, and just kind of get an idea of what it's like. I've never been to a chamber meeting. I've never been even to the chamber office before, so it was a new experience for me. And so in talking with Samantha Brady, she says that there is a dire need right now for students to have soft skills. And so with these soft skills, she's talking about showing up to work on time, who stay at work or come back to work after lunch. A lot of students go to a job and they'll go to lunch and they just don't come back, and it's a big issue. And she talks about being able to problem solve and show up on time, dress appropriately, communication. And so Miss Brady spoke on those things, and I had a chance to tell Miss Brady that, hey, that's what I'm teaching right now at the school that I'm serving. And so she found that real eye-opening for her, because she hasn't heard of anybody doing that. And so I feel like that is with the class that I have, that we're right there with what the community needs as far as the manufacturers and construction goes, that we are on target to try to develop these students with a sense of some soft skills. And so, and continuing to speak with Miss Brady, she talked about there is a new system that's coming to place, or that she's trying to implement here in Nelson and Bardstown. And so she talked about a talent pipeline management system through the Kentucky Chamber of Commerce and through the United States Chamber of Commerce. And so with doing this, she is wanting to connect education with the workforce needs. And so she explained it to me that education has been trying to lead the way for a long time. But the workforce is saying that it's not happening. And so from Miss Brady's perspective, she's saying that the workforce is going to have to start leading the education. And so there's going to have to be some sort of collaboration effort that Miss Brady is going to lead the school system to try to develop the soft skills and education skills that these students need coming out of high school. And so manufacturing and construction is the two biggest ones here in Bardstown, and they are just not able to keep any help. And what they're finding is someone comes to work at a factory, well, another factory down the street is paying maybe $1 more, so they'll stay at that one job, go out and look for another job that's paying $1 more, and so they go to the next job. And so the way that she's explaining it to me is that the people in the workforce are just jumping from job to job to job, and there are plenty of job opportunities here in Bardstown. And She even told me that there are 2 more factories that's going to be coming into Bardstown. One of them's going to hire about 70 employees, and the other one's going to hire about 200. And she said, we don't have the workers to fill those positions. And so she's talking about that they're going to have to be a collaborative effort going through this talent pipeline management system, that she's going to have to get with all the leaders, the CEOs of all these manufacturing companies and construction companies, that they're going to have to get together and come up with pain points, is what she called it. Pain points. And those pain points are where the workers are coming in that they're not dressing appropriately as far as soft skills, or they don't know how to problem solve. And so she's going to have to go in and do a lot of data collecting and try to figure out what the pain point is for the Nelson County, Bardstown area. And so once she finds these pain points, and then she's going to be able to collaborate better with the principals at the high school level and tell them, hey, this is the points that we're having trouble with in these manufacturers or in construction. And so whether it's, maybe having a student to get an engineering degree, or finding those students that is capable of getting that engineering degree. But she also mentioned that we have done a disservice to the BCD students. And she said that she was also a C student, and that she had a great work ethic, and so that enabled her to get to the position that she has. And so she said, because we have pushed college for so long, that now in the workforce we're not seeing those students in the workforce. And so she is trying to develop working with the B, C, D students, and to get them to the spot of being able to be productive in the workforce. And she called those pain points for the manufacturing and the construction areas. And so she says this is just not a problem just in Nelson and Bardstown, but it's a problem statewide, and it's a problem all over the United States. And she mentioned going to Missouri, and she mentioned going to California, and it's the same problems all across the United States. And so she also mentioned that drugs is another problem, and she said that according to her, the CEOs of the local companies in the Bardstown, Nelson County area, that if they were to do a random drug test, then they would have to shut the plant down, because they know that most of their workers are going to fail a random drug test. And so now the manufacturings are going to have to loosen the rules on drug tests. For example, of course, if an employee tests positive for cocaine, then that employee would be, fired or terminated right then. But if they tested positive for marijuana or THC, then they would not fire them. They would keep them on board. And so the manufacturing and the construction workers, construction companies are starting to adjust the rules of the drug testing. And so I thought that was very interesting, that we're going to have to loosen the rules up, because society and drugs is dictating what happens in the manufacturing. I know I don't want to work beside somebody who's doing marijuana. If somebody smoked some marijuana before coming into work, I don't want to work beside them. I've done that before, and I about got hurt. And so I don't want to be involved in that. So her biggest concern right now, and I could tell that she has a sense of being overwhelmed, because she's got to go out to these manufacturing companies and try to develop a collaborative effort between the manufacturers and the constructions, to where they were once in competition with employees, but now they've got to realize that they have to work together to solve some of the issues that we're having in the workforce. And so Miss Brady, who is the head of the Chamber of Commerce, she gave me a lot of insight. And she was pleased to know that we are collaborating with Barktown Rescue. And I also explained to her that, manufacturing companies are going to have to realize that once you get a student in directly out of high school, then they need to be willing to invest in that worker. Now that they have them, they got to invest. And so that means that, hey, we may have to send this employee back to school. We're going to pay for it. And so that employee can come back and bring his knowledge and bring his skills into their workforce. And they just need to understand that they need to take care of them. And I said, another thing that I see is motivation. I said, the students lack the motivation. The BCD students that we're talking about, they just lack that motivation. And she said that I was telling her exactly what the manufacturers and the construction companies were saying, that it was right on target, that they can't motivate the students enough or the workforce enough to go back to school and to be a continual learner. And so that's just some of the biggest issues that we're facing in the workforce, and how we need to partner together with the education system. And so all of this has just been a real eye-opener to the real dire needs of the construction companies, just here in Nelson and Bardstown, and across the state, really, of Kentucky, and all across the United States. And so we're going to have to develop, if I'm fortunate enough to become a principal of a high school, which I really don't want. I'd much rather have elementary school. But if for some unseen chance that I do become a principal of a high school, then for sure I would have to go out to develop the relationship skills with the community leaders and business leaders to let them help us determine what they need for their business. And so I can only see that as a win-win situation. And so, like I said, Miss Brady got a chance to shine a light on the problem that we're having, and to address it, to implement it, and to see the positive effects of it is going to take a really long time. But it's got to start somewhere. And I guess here in Nelson County and Bardstown, hopefully we're fortunate enough to get on. Hopefully we can get on with this and start implementing it, and so we can have the community to where we have most people in the community that can go out and work and be socially productive. And so I enjoyed my time with Miss Brady, and she said that she would do all that she could do if I came up with a need, or if I needed something from her, that I was more than welcome. Her office was open to me, and that I could come in and share some ideas and just kind of bounce things off of her, and that she would see what she could do to help me out. And so I did mention to her that I would like to have a business leader come in and just kind of speak with the students, and just to let the students know that, hey, I know I'm your teacher, and I know you've heard this before, but at the same time, they need to hear it from, the real professional, business leader professional, that he can reinforce everything that we've been telling them in class. And so, hopefully we can get this thing to work out and get some students and get them. Oh, and she mentioned that Amazon is starting to implement classes in their facilities. And so the employees that go work for Amazon, and Amazon knows that once they hire someone, that they're only going to be able to keep them for, they hope, up to a year. And so to try to keep that turnover rate down, Amazon is providing classes inside their facility. And so the employees can take classes right there at Amazon, and Amazon is pushing this being a continual learner. The same thing that we're teaching in school, Amazon is doing it right now, and UPS is doing it. And UPS right now, according to Miss Brady, is taking their employees, and she said her nephew is living rent-free in an apartment in Louisville. He's living rent-free, going to school, and Amazon is UPS is paying for his apartment and paying for his education. And so I just thought that was amazing that UPS would invest in their employees like that. I think it's my opinion that if we can get more manufacturers, construction workers, construction companies to invest in their employees like that, I just think it's nothing but a win-win situation. I think everybody will benefit from it. I think the turnover rate will be less than what it is right now. I think it will be dramatically less than what it is right now.